Hello, hello. Yeah, we are live.
Hello, we are
We are
live.
live. Yeah,
So I can start
but
off.
she's not there, huh? Okay.
Okay, fine. Good evening, everybody. We are here today to present before you one of our guest speaker, Mr. Dinesh Bandela, who has been a project manager in waste management and has been a part of a lot of projects which he handles and his team handles anonymously. Here, I would like to say that I, on behalf of Anajori, would like to welcome you, sir, for our Saturday talk show, which is based basically dealing with environment and other related products. Um, like the name goes, Anajori is a non-profit organization which was started in 2017 by Milind Datta. Here in Anajori, we basically try to take immense notice and care to the Northeast, to the different kind of issues that we have in the Northeast and Assam in particular. Apart from that, we also try to build in different kind of projects with the help of eminent speakers who are a part of our show and who, with their in-depth knowledge, try to impart knowledge with one another so that we see the development of Northeast and Assam in particular. Sir, we welcome you once again. Sorry for the technical glitch that we faced. Uh, so I, Roshmi Saikia, would like to welcome you for our show today. And so, like the saying goes, as you know, the earth is what we have in common. And we say progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything. So, we won't have a society if we don't have an environment, right? And it is rightly said that we need to take care of our environment and we need to take care of the different kind of issues that are faced not only here but over the globe. So once again, welcome to our show, and I would like to know from you, sir, being a part of a waste management project, and since you have been working in this particular division for such a long time, what do you think is the basic problem that we are facing in our society when it comes to waste management, sir?
First of all, thank you, Rashmi, for having me here. I've been following Anijori last week as well, the talk show. I followed that talk show as well. I'm pretty much new to Guwahati, but I'm trying to, follow the local initiatives and local environmentalists or the initiatives that's happening in Guwahati. So I'm pretty much excited and pretty much happy to know that there are organizations like Anajori who are working on ground in Guwahati. So to give you a brief, I work for this organization called WasteAid. I'm working as the project manager for WasteAid. Earlier to WasteAid, I was in Delhi working on policy advocacy and research-based advocacy with this organization, Center for Science and Environment. I was working with Sunita Narayan. So, but most of my work is into solid waste and plastic waste, biomedical and e-waste. That is my domain area. But plastic is my core area of interest. But if you ask me, like, what is the basic, if I talk about plastics and it's only in 2016 that we had a differentiation of rules for plastic waste and the solid waste. But going as a whole, if you look, the basic problem that is with the waste is like if you know the general scenario of a household or an individual is like out of my sight and out of my problem. So problem is out of my sight and the problem is gone. So it's not only with us, it's also with, I can say that it's same with the European or the developed countries, because if you look at the problem of plastic, it did not start with the developing countries, it started with the developing countries. So I'll just try to explain it at a smaller scale and at a larger scale as well. So if you compare the developing and the developed countries, so what happened earlier to 2018 is like all the developed countries used to actually ship their plastic waste to the developing countries, and they thought like, oh, we are managing the plastic waste very responsibly out of my sight, so the problem is gone. And their recycling percentages were too high. The same, but once the China ban, the national sword policy happened, all of a sudden that is when the world started getting the heat of plastics. The same way, uh, the magnitude of the waste that is generated maybe some a decade ago is so minute that even if it's gone out of my sight, then that was not a larger problem, although it was a major problem in the city level. But this problem actually reached at a larger scale. So when the scale increased, that is when we started getting the heat. Also, the mixing up of waste that happened, I mean, the rampant usage of plastic that happened. If you look at the older generations, like maybe some 20, 25 years ago in the village, we also had the waste, but the way it has been handled, like we used to have a proper pit outside the house, and it is completely organic waste. So the problem started when the plastics is actually mixed to the biodegradable waste, and then people will all of a sudden don't know what to do with that plastic. Although they are using it, they don't know how to dispose it of. So the problem starts at a minute level where the products are actually pushed onto the maybe the society or the or the community, where the community doesn't know what to do with the plastic carry bag, what to do after the post consumption or post usage. So that's where the problem starts.
All right. I know it's a very, very big issue for all of us. I mean, not only, I mean, it's not something which we deal with on an everyday basis. We have this issue of waste being thrown out of the dustbin, people throwing things here and there, and I think there's a lot of hue and cry because of that. But people are just not aware, or I do not know. What do you think? What is a common objections that we face when it comes to recycling of plastic, or taking care of the waste management system? So what according to you can be done?
So, I mean, Rashmi, what one thing I can say is like there's no one shot for every problem. Like if you ask me what might be the solution in a metro kind of a setup like Delhi, that would be different, and a kind of a setup for Guwahati, that would be different. And first thing is like one fit doesn't fit for all, or one solution doesn't fit for all. So the basic thing which needs to change for every city is the kind of segregation that we follow. Although we are like kind of got used to it or bored of listening to this word segregation, but there are really good examples in the country where like cities like Ambikapur or cities like Panchgani or cities like Panaji or a lot of cities in Kerala. Although we look at Kerala as a different country, the things which can work in Kerala doesn't or might not work in the other parts of the city. But there are larger cities, smaller cities, and metro cities which are doing very well. Although if you ask me about Indore, Indore is very expensive project, but it's still doing it. Like so, what I can say is like it's not like at one place a waste to energy plant has successfully taken waste or handle the waste of all the city, the same can work in the other city. So it's not the case. It has to be like case to case basis. Like after reaching here, and by the way, this is not shout out to any of the project, but I've seen this kid. I don't call him kid. Like he's a college pass out, and he's actually working on ground to collect segregated waste. So this
Okay.
organization called Midway Journey is actually collecting waste from 300 households. So
Hmm.
initiatives like that, small initiatives, local initiatives based on the local problems and the local conditions, that is what changes the whole system of the waste. But
Hmm.
although it always runs like a chicken and egg story, like households complaining to the municipal corporation saying that the municipal corporation doesn't pick the waste at the first point, and municipal
Hmm.
corporation goes around saying that, oh look, people are not giving segregated waste, so I'm forced to dump my waste in Boragaon dump site. So it all goes
Hmm.
in a circular way, and changing at one shot is not possible at all. So let's say even if the municipal corporation is so conscious about taking mixed waste, and if at all they don't want to take the mixed waste, but they don't have supporting infrastructure to do that. So it's like a step
Right.
by step process. It's not like we are talking about Kerala all of a sudden. It took them years to work on it. So if I can remember, it was way back in 2006 or 2004 they started working on the whole thing. So it took them like
Hmm.
15 years to come to this stage. And recently, where did I hear? So Indore, although it's a late entry, it started somewhere in 2013. Now they are collecting waste in six different forms, like at the source. They're collecting not only green and blue bin and the red bin. Now they're collecting six different uh, dry waste and green waste.
Hmm. All right. So it's not that the government is not doing anything. There are a lot of things, but then again, we consciously or unconsciously just forget. I mean, even if as a citizen we become aware of the things that we are facing right now, right? I think some part of the problem can be solved. Sir,
Right.
I also here would like to ask you, as in, what are you or your current projects right now? What are you dealing in?
Yeah, so Rashmi, as I told you, I work for this organization called WasteAid. WasteAid is a
Mm-hmm.
UK-based charity, like a non-profit or a NGO that we call. So it's a charity-based organization based in London. We are not yet registered in India, but in collaboration with this organization called Huhtamaki. Huhtamaki is a plastic manufacturer. Although WasteAid
Mm-hmm.
is known as an international organization, which is kind of supporting recycling and knowledge transfer and technological help. So this is what we actually do. But this particular project which I am working right now is called Circular Economy Network. So for Circular Economy Network, this is a 2-year project. So I moved to Guwahati to work this project on ground. So if I have to explain about Circular Economy Network, there are two components to it. So the first component is a network, a platform, kind of a virtual platform where it's a knowledge sharing platform. Anyone who's working on circular economy network, waste management, plastic waste, or any sort of circularity can join this network called Circular Economy Network. So it's a platform where best ideas or best technology is being shared with all the network people. Like let's say we have a best technology working on let's say multi-layer packaging. We'd like to share that technology to all these people, or all the participants of this network. And we have plans of having training sessions, virtual trainings, webinars. A lot of things are planned. So apart from that, the second component of this project is supporting the local initiatives. Let's say we have a small initiative in Guwahati, and as of right now, they are collecting plastic like 10 tons a month and processing it or recycling it and converting it into some other forms. So I'm just giving you an example. Like it might be a recycler, it might be some other idea working on circular economy network. So what we'd like to do is like we'd like to know all these people and have a small competition between all these ideas. Let's say I've recently come across the concept of thrifting in Guwahati. Like you can sell your old bags, you can sell your, oh, you featured them in the last talk show, yours thriftfully. So maybe some sort of ideas that revolves around circular economy. We'll have a small competition between all these entrants, and we'd like to support two initiatives as of right now. So when I say two initiatives, it's kind of a funding we'd like to give to two initiatives. So it's somewhere around 10,000 euros. So through this 10,000 euros, what we'd like to achieve in these two organizations is like we'd like them to collect more waste and then process more waste. Like just for an example, so if the guy is collecting 10 tons of waste earlier to our initiative or our help or our investment in that business. So we'd like to see an substantial impact after our funding. What is the change that came into his operations? Like, let's say now he is collecting 20 tons of plastic waste and send it for recycling. So this is what we'd like to see, identify local initiatives, invest in them or fund them. So it's not actually investment, it's actually funding. So it's like open funding into these initiatives. Yeah, this is what we are looking at, and this is for 2 years. And the other thing is like, although we would be funding two initiatives, only two initiatives with 10,000 euros each. In the process of identifying these two initiatives, we'll be having a incubation kind of a center where we'll be inviting a lot of the people. Even though like we start with 12 people, we fund only two people. The remaining 10 ideas or 10 initiatives, uh, we strengthen them. We strengthen the idea, their financial capabilities or their operations so much that they can pitch in for some sort of funding with some other organization. So this is what we're looking at. Yeah, that's the whole project is about.
Okay, that sounds really good, and I hope your projects also are successful and good enough for people to, be aware. And how are you? I mean, is there a way where people, if they want to get back to you, so how do they get back to you?
Yeah, so Rashmi, we have this website called circulareconomynetwork.co. It's not com, it's only circulareconomynetwork.co. So you can please visit that website. We have a lot of information on. So this project actually started in three countries. One is Guwahati in India, and Johannesburg in South Africa, and Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So we have information about all other cities. And if you go on our website, wasteaid.org, that's our parent website. So you have this wonderful toolkit wherein a lot of things. This toolkit is actually an award-winning toolkit. You have a lot of things about making eco breaks, home composting. So it's a compilation of all the best practices in waste management. This toolkit. So if you go on our website, circulareconomynetwork.co, there's this small option of join us. So if you click on that join us and give in your details or give in your idea, then we'll contact you so that we are going to announce our competition between all the members. It's kind of an open invite to send in your ideas, hopefully by 4th or 5th of April. So it's when the competition starts, and we have a 2 months gap for people to submit their ideas. And we'll finalize few ideas and then have an incubation, and then we'd like to fund two initiatives. So this is how. So, and you can follow us on Twitter as well, CARC. I can forward you the coordinates. So WasteAid is one thing.
Sure, we'd really like to be a part of it, and if not anything, just know what's going on and how we can as a citizen also help our, I mean, especially that you are also taking up this project with such international names, and Guwahati is also a part of it. So it feels nice that, we are a part of that project as well. Okay,
Yeah.
Coming back to coming back to my question, I wanted to know, like, we talk about a lot of the 3 R's, so we talk about reduce, recycle, and reuse. So in what way waste management product can help us in this?
Sorry, in what way waste management?
Yes, in what way? I mean, in what, how do we implement this 3 R's, which we basically, it's a very, like, you can say, the golden words of environment.
Yeah,
So in what way can we use it?
yeah. So, Rashmi, I mean, there are two ways to it. Like what I personally feel is like it might not be my organization's view. What I personally feel is like, somewhere the corporates are too smart just when they feel like the consumer or the customer. So they don't talk about customer, they only talk about the consumer. So whenever they feel like consumer are a lot more in a position of awareness, they just throw out some words which are like very catchy just to make them calm. Like there is the recycling is one word which I first heard, like, oh, production is too high, no problem, we have a recycling. So, and in 2012 or 13, I believe sustainability is the word which is thrown into the market, like no problem, we'll work on sustainability. And the recent word is circular economy network. What changed from a time of when we spoke about recycling till circular economy network? Nothing changed. If you look at the plastic waste production, so I'm really sorry that I'm talking a lot about plastics because plastic is my domain. So all my
That's
examples would
okay.
be
You
plastic.
want to?
So if you look at the production of plastic when they talked about recycling and when they are talking about circular economy network, the global plastic waste production has gone up like too high. So there is this one international organization research which says that by 2050, it will go up like 5 times compared to 2010's production capacity of plastics. And the other research says that on an average, human consumes about 5 grams of plastic waste every week. So consume, when I say consume, it's not using the plastic, but it intakes. So it's like the weight of one credit card every week. We are literally eating one credit card every week. So
Right.
if we are still relying on concepts of recycling, although I'm not at all against recycling or
Mm-hmm.
sustainability of circular economy network. So if we keep on following these initiatives, we might end up consuming 5 credit cards a week by 2050. So what I look at on the other side of the mirror or the other side of the table is like, why is that we are not talking about reduction in the production? Let's say there is
Right.
this one company who was using 10,000 tons of plastic packaging material or some sort of plastics every year. So did we have any corporate talking about, look, today, this financial year, my plastic consumption is 10,000 tons. So next year, I'll reduce it by 9,000 tons. There's no company who's talking about. All that they
Yeah.
talk about is like by 2025, I'll make all my packaging recyclable, compostable, or some sort. All these bio terms are like very too much flashy and catchy. But we are not talking about the production stage, but we are talking only about the consumer end. All this recycling at the consumer end, sustainability. So it's at consumer end or the circular economy network. Although circular economy network talks a lot about production, all that you talk about extended producer responsibility is towards the plastic waste collection. So we are not talking about initiatives towards the other end. Although things are not completely blank or too much gloomy. So there is this, if you follow Wimbledon, 2018 Wimbledon, so Danone is one organization who supplied water bottles to all of the Wimbledon. And so all the water bottles used in 2018 or 2019, I really don't recall it, are completely made of recycled water bottles. So, but the other problem is like this happened in US, but the same cannot happen. Danone is actually working in India as well. All your some of your curd packets are made by Danone curd. But they are not recycling plastic here completely because if you look at the Indian rules, so any recycled plastic cannot be used in food contact items. So even if I end up recycling my PET bottle or all the curd bottles that go out into the market by Danone cannot use it again for their own consumption. So there are flaws in the rules as well. The other side of it is like we always talk about reducing your carbon footprint. or reducing your bottle usage, but we are not talking about reducing the production of the bottles at the other end.
Right.
Sorry, my answers are too lengthy.
No, I mean that's the bottom line truth actually. I mean, we talk, and like I was saying, we do talk a lot about the environment, taking care of the environment, but what are we actually doing? I mean, I myself might not be doing anything of that sort. I mean, in spite of the fact that I know, right? So definitely, I mean, there has to be some kind of well, how do you think, I mean, we can make a kind of a change to the next generation? There is we have like during the olden times, we never use the plastic. I mean, we never used plastic for garbage, for example. Now, in spite of the fact that the government has banned the use of plastic completely last year, but that never went out of the market, right? So
Yeah.
what do you have to say? I mean, how can we make people aware that we have to, as a citizen, we have to understand our basic role, and how do we do that? I mean, what do you have to say about?
So Rashmi, further, what I can say is like, if you look at the solid waste rules or the plastic waste rules, the rules are very stringent. But the
Hmm,
problem is the lacking point is at the implementation level. So
hmm,
if I talk about the plastic ban, the plastic carry bags or the bags
hmm,
with or without handles are actually banned in Delhi way back in
hmm,
2012. So, but still,
hmm.
if I go to Delhi and look at any street vendor, I get it like openly. And
Yes.
the rules clearly says that if you are manufacturing plastic bag, it should be, the name of the manufacturer, the license number, address, and the phone number should be printed on every plastic bag. But
Right.
you don't find them. Although the best thing is like yesterday itself, we had a new amendments in the plastic waste management act. It's a draft. It's still on the public domain for changes. The one best thing about this rules is like, although the rules are very stringent, so this time they clearly, not clearly, I'll not say clearly, they tried to define single-use plastic, and there are few items which are listed in the rules saying that this list of items are
Hmm,
banned completely. So although it's still a long way that it should be passed in the gazette, it should be passed in the gazette, and that's when it has legal applicability.
hmm,
But still it's a good thing. So what might be the one thing which we can give to the coming generations without plastic is like, if you look at the way that plastic came into human usage, so if you look
hmm,
at that flow chart or the kind of flow which happened is like, I'm not saying that plastic is a demon. So if you look
hmm,
at the like there are few places where you completely cannot avoid plastic. So if the plastic
hmm,
is used for a longer durations, like if you look at our own kitchen, there is a lot of cutlery made of plastic. So but they are
hmm,
durable. Like
hmm,
there are a lot of furnitures made of plastics, like all your plastic chairs and tables are made of plastic, but these are used for a longer durations and they actually go to a proper recycling facility. I don't have any
hmm,
problem with those plastics. The problem created by plastic is like, where are you applying this plastic? So this example I actually tell at every location. If you look
hmm,
at the old ambassador car and the new car, so the whole
hmm,
concept of letting go the weight of ambassador car or the usage of metals in ambassador car is to uh, increase the fuel efficiency and to make your car so lightweight so that your fuel efficiency goes. So if we still stick to that concept of we'll go with only a metal bumper and we'll not use plastic bumper, we are losing there. So it's like
hmm,
keeping a balance or what can I say? Picking up the best of the evil is what we are trying to do. So
hmm,
it's like same way. You can use plastic. So if the consumption patterns change, there is this
hmm,
example of Quakers. Quakers is the FMCG product, your chips packets. So when
hmm,
Quakers decided in 2019, I believe 2019, that we are not going to follow the rules and we are not making our packaging, the outer packaging recyclable. And then that is when people actually stop buying Quakers. But India
hmm,
still being a price conscious market, we are not yet to that level of like quality conscious or maybe environment conscious. We are not still at that level. Even if we go to that level, the price of the product goes very high. So if I want to go for an eco-friendly product, the price would be so high so that I end up buying, or rather a middle class person end up buying plastic items because that is economical.
Right.
So I mean, uh, it's like creating alternative and then cutting the plastics. That might be the best thing because there are a lot of. I was telling you about the locations where we cannot let go of plastics, like your medicine usage, medicinal usage, or your car's usage. So these are places where we can actually achieve a lot by using plastic. But at general usage, like your polystyrene cutlery or your straws or your or the gloves that are made of plastic, single-use plastics. So if we can regulate that usage of plastic, where we can go with some other alternatives, I guess that is one thing which has to change like right away.
Right. So, I mean, uh, definitely. I mean, because unless and until we don't have options, like, we need to have options to change. So, what do you think can be done? I mean, do you think there will be options coming in later on or in the near future, like paper? It's very expensive. I mean, so even if, and then it's not durable because obviously at the moment you carry something heavy, the paper would definitely tore off.
Yeah.
So there are certain things which we so how can we reduce, like, understood, we might be not be able to evade away with plastic at all, but what can be our ways where we can reduce the use of plastic and also at the same time take care of the environment?
Yeah. So what I think is like Rashmi, it can be again two ways. So the first example which I would like to take is an example of Tamil Nadu plastic waste ban and Maharashtra plastic waste ban. So what happened is like 2019 Jan is when Tamil Nadu actually banned the plastic waste, and they announced it 6 months earlier to the ban, saying that starting from I really don't remember, it might be 2020 as well. So right 6 months before the ban, the government actually announced saying that look, starting Jan 1st 2019 we are completely banning this list of items. So who are the manufacturers who are manufacturing these list of items have to stop their manufacturing and look for alternatives. And what government did is like they actually found the alternatives, and the same factories who are manufacturing, let's say talk about paper cups. Paper cups were actually banned in Tamil Nadu. So what they did is like they called up the manufacturer saying that look, you're manufacturing the paper cup, so starting from Jan 1st the paper cups will not be allowed. So and paper cutlery, the cutlery, polystyrene cutlery is not allowed starting from Jan 1st. So you look for alternatives and we will provide you trainings, we will provide you fund to manufacture that alternatives. This is one way of doing it. If I compare it with Maharashtra state plastic waste ban, what they did is like overnight they told like, look, these items are banned. Done. Kal se ye sare ban. That created a lot of confusion because they right away banned polystyrene, any product that is made out of polystyrene. So if you look at the fishermen, all the fish that is caught after coming back from the fishing trip, they actually pack it in polystyrene boxes, which are like big boxes made of polystyrene, and they are reusable. So what the work of that polystyrene box is like, they keep the fish, they keep the ice, and then just close it, and it can travel a lot of longer durations. But all of a sudden that is banned, and fishermen have no clue what is the alternative. So how to get the fish to the market? They don't have a clue because you cannot transfer it even it in the plastic bag because that doesn't provide you the kind of air seal that the polystyrene box provides. So So that is one way, like having a clear idea of what are the alternatives, and the government actually investing in it, so that there's no confusion. And if you look at the ban of Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra ban, plastic waste ban has been almost changed like 3 times. Like first they said all the water bottles below 500 ml are bad, and they said, oh no no
Mm,
no, we'll reduce it from 500 to 250 ml. And then all the liquor industries, all the miniature liquor is actually under 250. So all the liquor industry would panic like, oh, you cannot do this. So they have to add a clause like liquor, miniature liquor, which is below 200 ml is allowed. So there's a lot of confusion. So this is one thing. Sorry, I must have gone off track with the question. Can you kind of repeat the question, Rashmi?
no, that's okay. I just asked you that having known that paper, we have other kind of options, right? But then again, we know that paper is not durable in a
Yeah, yeah.
sense, So uh, if we have to use plastic only, okay, and reduce and also take care of the environment, what are the ways we can do so?
Yeah, yeah. So one way might be this, like government actually working on alternatives. So the second thing is like expecting a company like Pepsi or Coke to give their chips and paper packet would be like foolish thing to ask for, and foolish thing for a company to move to, because you cannot expect Coke to sell their 2 liter Coke bottle in a paper thing, because the moisture, all the things which have to be cannot be happen with paper, like all the materials cannot support coke. So thing is like, okay, you are happy to use the plastic. The only problem is like take back your plastic and use it again. Either you
Mm,
recycle it or close the loop. That is what we are talking about. We are,
mm,
because I need chips packets, and
mm,
considering India, the vast diversity of India, I need chips packets in Himalayan region as well. I need chips packets in the highly humid Chennai region as well. So
right.
it's like trying your best. So for this, I can give you an example like ITC. If you look at ITC, ITC
Mm,
Ashirwad Atta. So they don't have a similar kind of packaging for Ashirwad Atta in Chennai and in the hotter regions like Rajasthan. So the packaging is actually different for Ashirwad Atta in Rajasthan and for Chennai,
mm,
because they don't need an extra layer of aluminium inside that Ashirwad. So they let go of that one layer in Rajasthan. So this is kind of innovations that we are talking about in circular economy. Like Pepsi, although they did it somewhere in 2020, early 2020, saying that oh, you can comfortably buy our Lay's chips packets because we are making our Lay's chips packets completely biodegradable or
mm,
compostable. So it's like, but
mm,
how much percentage are we talking about? If you are
mm,
manufacturing only like 100 or 1,000 packets and saying that we are manufacturing it, we are investing in sustainability initiatives, that's my problem. So if you are you're free to sell your chips because it's an
mm,
open
mm.
market. But only thing
Yep.
is like under the extended producer responsibility, take back your chips packets and put it to some other work or recycle and reuse it. We are very much happy to give you that chips packet separately, because if you look at the same way, like organizations actually try to skip a lot of things working in Europe and working in India. Same example of Danone, they're ready to do it there and not ready to do it here. It might be also legal issues. If we look at like sanitary pads, so all the sanitary pad manufacturing companies actually have to give a pouch so that after the post usage sanitary pad can be kept in that pouch and then given responsibly. But we are just
Mm,
talking about wrapping it in paper and putting a red mark, although I'm not against it. But what should be done actually according to the rules is not being done. That is why consumer is pushed to go for some other ways at our end. So it doesn't
mm,
happen. So if the companies or the corporates actually follow the rules or
mm,
what is prescribed by them to do, so half of thing is done, and then they can start blaming us like, oh, I'm doing all my things, I'm doing my
mm,
APR properly, but you're not giving the waste. Okay, let that day come, and then we are ready to do actually.
mm. Actually, that's true. I mean, there are so many ways we actually can do, but maybe people are not aware how to go about it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
coming back. so it becomes very difficult sometimes because we are, not that we unconsciously we do a lot of things, but I think we have to still find a way out to get what we want. I mean, if we really want to see something different. So I want to know, like, there are things called community setup, or there are things which can be done as in groups. I mean, it's not possible to cater to so many places altogether, right? So, do you all have any ways, or is there a way from your company itself? I mean, are you planning to do something like this on a larger scale? And since you're in Guwahati, I mean, I'm sure you're taking care of the SAM as well. So, what are the things? I mean, you see a lot of garbage here and there, even in Guwahati we see. So, uh, uh, I mean, what are your plans? I mean, what do you think can be, achieved by means of a community cleanup or a community setup? So, is that possible?
Yeah. So Rashmi, as a first activity on ground, what we did is like, although we took a proper care of COVID guidelines and instructions, we did a beach cleanup, the riverbank cleanup last week. So this
Hmm.
riverbank cleanup is kind of a kick-off event for us, like just to
Hmm.
start. But we have lot more plans in our bag. Like we are looking at
Hmm.
a material recovery facility for Guwahati, so that if I look at it from a legal perspective, the
Hmm.
responsibility of waste is of the municipal corporation. So I don't want the organizations to completely come and say like, oh, we are going to manage it for the municipal corporation. What we are
Hmm.
trying to do is like, we want to set up a pilot or kind of a guiding thing just to say to the corporation saying that this is possible at the community level. So as
Hmm.
a second activity or might be a third activity, what we are looking at is like, we are looking at a setting up a material recovery facilities with all the facilities in that, like a
Hmm.
machine to clean your plastics, a machine to dry your plastic, so that the marketability of these plastic items actually increase. So for this material recovery facility, we'd like to tie up with all the stakeholders. Like, although we'll start it at one location, so we just
Hmm.
want to show it as a model which the Guwahati Municipal Corporation can pick and work it out, and we'll be very much happy to invest in that replications as well. So the first
Hmm.
thing which we'd like to do is a material recovery facility, although it's still
Hmm.
at the planning stage. Maybe hopefully by the end of May, by once the elections and the what do you call this period of the
COVID.
period where yeah, I actually forgot the name of the term, the model code of conduct. So till the
Okay.
end of model code of conduct, and by the time we have a new government formed, so we are
Hmm.
hopeful that we'll set up a material recovery facility and see that actually clean plastics comes here. So through
Hmm.
some local maybe partnerships, that's what we are looking at, because we in India don't have any manpower as a waste aid. So I'm the only one working for waste aid in India. So we are looking at a lot of partnerships in Guwahati. So if you
Yeah.
know any such initiatives, so you please you can reach to us and say that, oh look, this can actually happen. Or you can actually
Hmm.
propose something like, this is the waste scenario, and let's say what are the regions which I know in Guwahati, or maybe Zoo Road or JS Road. These are the only two names which I know in Guwahati. Oh, and the Uzan Bazaar as well. Let's say you have some idea in Uzan Bazaar. You can
Hmm.
please give it to us so that we can work out in partnership, or we can work out in collaboration. We can do
Hmm.
something in that area, or something in Zoo Road, or something in GS Road, something
Hmm.
like that.
Sure. I mean, definitely. I mean, and Anazori itself, uh, as a non-profit, we are dealing in a lot of things. I mean, we take cater to a lot of divisions, you can say, and we would be happy to be a part of your team as well. So definitely, we will be maybe speaking on this further later on,
Sure.
and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And okay, another thing, I mean, I wanted to know when we're talking about the cleanup process, and you have said, are these cost effective? I mean, you have spoken about the kind of machinery that is being used. So is this cost effective? Because along with the we have to also handle and check whether we will be able to be a part of it, because cost also is involved. So are you as a your organization, does they help if we come up with places where we see a lot of garbage here and there and we report to you? So will there be help? I mean, as an organization, will you help us? I mean,
Yeah, so Rashmi, I cannot promise you like, oh, whatever
yeah.
idea you have, I can help. But the thing is like, if you look at the waste management as a broader prospect, so
Mm,
waste management is actually sustainable. So although I'm using the word sustainable, it's such a broad thing.
mm,
But if you take the capital cost out of the waste management, so
mm.
the operational cost is actually achievable through user fee or from
Okay.
sale of recyclables. So
Mm,
the major hindrance for a proper waste management is the capital cost. This is where
mm,
WasteAid and the circular economy network comes into play. So we are not here
mm,
to replicate the work which is done by the municipal corporations or by any other NGO. Let's say if we talk about Midway Journey, we are not here to replicate what Midway Journey is doing. What we will
mm,
do is like, let's say, for example, if we take Midway Journey, I'm not saying that we are going to do with this Midway Journey, or let's say there is this one company, let's say a company A, which is actually collecting segregated waste from some thousand households. What
mm,
WasteAid would like to do is like, we'd like to give you some machinery. When I say some machinery, it's like at our cost. So
mm,
we'll try to provide you machinery at our cost, so that if you are collecting like from 500 households initially using this machinery, you can increase it to some 600 or 700 households. And if cleaning of plastics collected from these 600 or 700 households is a problem, we'd like to
mm,
pinch in for some machinery which actually helps you in cleaning that plastics. So this is where we come in. Like we'd like to this might be with one organization, with two organizations.
mm,
So we would like to handle that capital cost for you so that the initiative becomes actually sustainable. Let's say if there is a recycler. So this
mm,
recycler want to invest new systems in his factory or
mm,
in his facility so that he can actually recycle more plastic. But he is not capable to do it because capital cost is too high. So we'd like to pinch in there, add something to the capital cost. Or let's say there is this one community in Guwahati, say, let's consider ward number 15. Ward number 15, the households are so empowered, they don't want to give the waste municipal corporation, they want to do home composting. So if the home
right.
composting units costs like some 5,000 per unit, we'd like to pinch
Mm,
in there. Like maybe we can give 60 or 70% of it and the remaining contribution comes from the household. So these are
mm,
the kind of ideas or the models which we are looking at, which kind
mm.
of takes a little of capital cost burden away from the initiatives so that the initiatives become actually sustainable. So this might be at a material recovery facility, might be at household society, household or household society as well.
All right. That's nice. That's really nice. Okay, I also want to know. I mean, people usually do not follow the municipal rules, which ideally we are supposed to. So why is that so? Why do you think that happens?
So, Rashmi, again, I'll try to tell you with an example. So, let's
Mm,
say if we go back to 1980s or 1970s, although I'm not born in 1970s, but I this is just my imagination. So,
right.
like 1970, if you look at a red light and a junction, so
Mm,
people would have felt it like it's such a foolishness who would stop at a red light or at a junction. This is what people would have thought
right.
when first time a red light is installed at a junction, because they're
Mm,
so much used to not stopping at that junction and just going. And the first
mm,
time when this is just my wild imagination, what would have people felt when they first time
mm,
saw a red light and someone standing there and saying like, "जब ये red hoga, you have to stop." People would have laughed. So the same way, it's like people are not following now segregation. So it's like it started with saying like you should stop at red light, you should segregate your waste. So it's like just adding it to them. So it also goes a long way. Like we are talking about segregating your waste, but where to keep the second bin. This actually came in one of our discussions because I used to work for this organization called CREDI. CREDI is an association of real estate builders. So we were
Okay.
actually pushing all the housing societies to segregate the waste. And the problem that came out is like there is this one household woman, Aishwarya, I still remember her name. She asked, where should I keep my second bin? Because if you look at my kitchen sink, the space to keep my bin is below my sink, and I have one sink. So where should I keep my second bin? That's the problem. So the problem of waste actually goes to the architecture level. So that is when the builders realized, oh, if the waste management should happen, there should be two sinks in the kitchen where you can keep two bins below the sink. And if you look at the architecture earlier to that, people actually used to use garbage chutes. So they just used to tie the waste and shoot it in a garbage chute. So it's
Right.
not in my household. So it's like if the rules are properly implemented and if you give that responsibility to the households, actually households are ready to take it. Although there might be some 10 or 20, I cannot exactly say the percentage, like it might be 30, 40 also, percentage of households who never fall in line. But if the rules, uh, if the people start, it is when people started actually stopping on the red light, few people, and then the people followed. So it might be peer pressure also, peer pressure might also work, so people will start doing it because in a housing society, that's where I lived in Delhi. So if I don't segregate my waste, I was actually pointed out, oh, this is the guy who doesn't waste, segregate his waste. So the other way around is like in the small initiative called Clean City Movement, which I worked earlier, some 4 5 years ago. We never said, we never asked people to segregate their waste. All that we said is like, don't mix your waste. So people were very happy. Like when you ask people to segregate your waste, the image that comes to their mind is like informal sector working on the roadside, finding through the waste and segregating the waste. That is what comes to their mind. So we ask the
Right.
people not to mix the waste. It's actually the same thing. Not mixing the waste and segregating is actually same thing, but the people are very comfortable. I mean, we are talking about people whose average unit cost is somewhere around 2.5 crores in Delhi NCR region. So these people felt like, oh, segregation is informal sectors work. So I'm not segregating. I'm just not mixing my waste. So maybe the narration of the whole thing, there's a need to change in that narration as well.
Exactly. So, do you think if we implement a fine, then things can change? I mean, is it possible? Because people are so, happy with getting everything like for free lunches kind of thing. So, do you think it is if we implement or the government implements a fine, like a rigid one, that it has to be this way? So, do you think then things might change? I mean,
Yeah,
is it possible?
I mean it's not always like fines. It's like carrot
Mm,
and stick thing. Like
mm,
you educate them and you then say that, oh, there's a fine also added to it. Stop at red light. You have to
mm,
stop at red light. If not, fine is added to it. So it's like it works both the way. Maybe the time when red light started, people would have educated them like, look, this is red light and you need to stop. Orange, then you get to go. Green, go. They educated them. So maybe the same way, like educate them, teach them how why segregation is important. All the people know that segregation is important, but maybe stringent fines also help. They might help, or it rather helps because I don't see any place where the fines are actually implemented on ground very stringently. But
mm,
SDMC is South Delhi Municipal Corporation is one municipal corporation which recently or maybe during the lockdown which came up with stringent fine collection, but it has got a lot of angles to it, like political, social, and a lot of angles associated to it.
mm, mm. Okay, I understand. I mean, here we are talking about an environment, a clean environment, clear, better environment, but we still do not have after you know having being independent for such a long time still do not know how to go about it. I mean, it's really very sad. At the same time, I mean, I think we should be aware of how to go about it. So coming back on that note, I want to understand, can social media like help us, or in expediting our what it is called, that is the waste management thing? Can it be expedite if we use the social media as a tool? Is it possible for us to at least gain something in return, or have something in return?
Yeah, I can say, Rashmi, social media is a very powerful tool now, or
Hmm.
it can be social media, it can be digitalization, or it can be like usage of digital platforms are so effective. Like there is this one video I remember a lot. So there is this one
Hmm.
guy who actually shot someone. This happened in Bangalore. So there is one guy installed CCTV camera outside his house, and one of the restaurant guy actually came there and dumped his food waste somewhere during 12:30 in the midnight. He just dumped. It's like fraction of seconds. He came on his Activa, dumped it and left. It's hardly like 3-4 seconds. And this guy actually submitted that particular clip. He tweeted to the BBMC, Bangalore Municipal Corporation, and the municipal corporation actually took action against this restaurant. So it's like usage of social media or the digital platforms effectively. It actually helps a lot. So the next time that eatery or some other restaurant, or let's say any household, if he's trying to dump waste somewhere in Bangalore, he actually finds it scary to do that. So it's a very powerful tool.
Hmm. So I think a lot of things can be done through social media. I
Yeah.
mean, if we really become serious about it, right? So yes. So I mean, we're coming through to the end now
Yeah.
of the show. I'm
Mhm.
sorry for the network issue that
No, no,
happened initially.
no problem.
Anybody has a question here? Just would like to check if anybody wants to put up a question. Anyone? Okay. So I think we do not have a query here. But do you want to say anything from your end? Do you have anything to
Uh,
tell? Yes.
Nothing much specific, Rashmi. If I can, I'd like people to like join the circular economy network so that we can be part of this larger network. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's the thing which I want to say. Yeah.
Okay. So with that note, it was a pleasure speaking to you, and I really enjoyed the conversation that we had today. And as a team from Anajuri, I would once again thank you for being a part of our show and giving your valuable time, and wish you all the luck. And we hope that in the near future we can work with you together, because Anajuri also is a non-profit who is dealing in a lot of things. So hope to see you soon, sir. And thank you once again.
Thank you, Rashmika. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hmm.